Hello, active and attractive ladies. We are here again for another Thursday Live inside of the Active and Attractive Facebook community. I am so thrilled to be here with you guys. And if you are here watching me live on the video, let me know that you're here live. If you're watching the replay, do the same, because we're going to be rolling through from the conversations we started last week. So guys, I want to first apologize for being a little tardy because I was thinking about the message that we were going to talk about today, and I really wanted to do a little extra research before I said what came to me. So I had thoughts that came to me right before the live, and I was like, wait, let me go through and do a little research. I want to fact check myself before I start, because today is intended to give you a tool to begin to extract some resources that you carry that as a leader, we're wanting to provide to the world. So if you are new in this community, you might be like, Sammy, what are you talking about? Extracting resources? What do you mean? I can tell you right now, friend, we have dozens of videos inside of this community that I would love for you to go back and watch. Every single video stacks on top of itself. So we started around, let's say around October of last year, and every single week we have been going live inside of the Active and Attractive community discussing the different layers of what it looks like and means to be a leader. So healthy feminine leadership is what we're trying to build. And the reason we want to focus on you as a leader and making sure that you are not only being a leader, but you're being healthy and feminine in your leadership is because feminine means not sundresses, not rainbows, not bunny rabbits, but what it means is that as you lead, as you pursue your purpose, as you pursue your vision, your intention is to also care about how you feel. And in your pursuit of greatness, trying to help other people, making sure that you're present with people, making sure you're really creating a strong impact in their lives, that you are also attuning to how you feel in the process of delivering your goods. You might be a business owner, which means to run a full business requires you. It requires a clear mind. It requires a lot of action. It requires some sleepless nights. And in order to do that, you never want to extend yourself so far that you're trying to help others, but it's causing a detriment to you. So being feminine in your leadership is us saying, all right, you are an awesome visionary. You are an incredible, just dime piece of a woman. You are the most bee's knees, queen of the castle type of person, but we want to make sure that in you sharing what it is that you're meant to share with the world, that you're always attuning to how you feel and you're never overextending yourself. Now, in not overextending yourself, we also want to make sure that you're healthy in your process of leading. That in running your business, in being the matriarch of your family, you are also making sure you are staying consistently in alignment to the vision you have. And you're not spreading yourself so thin that it's leading to dis-ease, overwhelm, discomfort, frustration, anger, fatigue, exhaustion. You can't lead from that place. And I know for myself, a good majority of my life was me trying to lead, follow through on my commitments, and really trying to impress people and making sure that I was doing what I said I was going to do, but it cost me my body. It cost me my health. It cost me my well-being. It cost me my relationship with self. And I wondered why I could not continue to show up. It was because I didn't know how to be healthy in my leadership. And so the Active and Attractive community, for those of you guys who are new, is designed to make sure that we're having these conversations. We're looking at how to make you the most influential, most attractive, most potent leader out there, and make sure that in your process of being this great woman with all the things, that you're also attuning to your health in both your physical body and in your heart, while also making sure that you're showing up in a way that's constantly tuning into you and what you need so that you're supported in your process, so that you never stop. So this is the gist of what we're working on. And so the last videos that we've been going through has looked at how do you show up in a way that is healthy, physically healthy, while also knowing your identity. We're making sure that you know who you are and you are magnetic. You are radiant, you are shining, you are big, you are loud. Your presence carries your voice for you. And when you open your mouth, it's only the cherry on the cake. in being this very pronounced version of yourself, we talked about making sure you're able to be seen. You know what your message is, you know what you're here to share, you know what type of words you're supposed to be giving to the people. Again, if you're in business, you're showing up on social media, you're meeting people in your city, you're sharing the good news about what you have. And in doing that, it's all about creating an impact, bringing you to the place that we're at right now, where we're talking about what does it look like to create an impact to people all around. Whether it's your target audience, whether it's a stranger on the street, whether it's a family member that you never thought you could make a breakthrough with, when you show up as you know the value you bring to the table. You're healthy, you're taking care of yourself, and you're willing to be seen in any room that you step into. When you get to the point of impact, this is the conversation exchange. This is the point where people look at you and they say, who are you? You feel like you carry something. You feel like you carry something more than what I have words for. Can you tell me your story? Can you tell me who you are? Can you tell me how you got to where you are? When you understand your story, you're really able to create an effective impact. So we're at the point of discussing impact. How do you create a story that allows people to connect with you, to really feel like they can see themselves in your journey? We mentioned last week that your job is not to create an impact by forcing people to do what you think that they should do, but it's more efficient to share who you are, share what you've seen, share what you've overcome, and provide a pathway of hope that allows other people to be like, maybe it is possible for me. Maybe it is possible for me to overcome this. Maybe it is possible for me to have that. And your confidence, when you've already experienced your impact and you have fought the good fight to get to the place that you're at right now, when you have walked up the mountain to finally reach the elevation that you're at, to finally embody the skill and the character that you really never thought you could achieve, when you finally get to where you wanted to go, you now have the authority and the ability to share that same information back to the people who desire to follow. What we want is that you feel clear, confident, and clean in sharing your process. Your process is the number of things that it took for you to get to where you're going. It's you being able to describe who were you before and who are you now. It's your ability to recall the struggles, the strain, the problems, the difficulties that you've seen. Because sometimes when we get to a place that we've embodied really well, maybe you've been able to be the top of your company for years and years, you kind of forget what it's like to be at the beginning. It's our ability to, through story, tell people what it was like for us in the beginning, and then visually provide a pathway for them to imagine whether or not your path is the way they could try out to see if that's how they can get to the top as well. Our entire point as a leader is to be able to pass information, pass our experiences, and allow people to pick up that tool and make the decision on whether or not they want to try it that way themselves. But when you find a lot of people knocking on your door because you've really been able to achieve great things, it's so valuable for you to have the gift of storytelling to share with others what it is that you've overcome and what you've seen, so that you can feel confident in knowing that your story has an impact all on its own. So what we're going to be doing is we've been laying the foundation of what impact really is, what it looks like to be impactful to other people. Last week I shared with you, think about the people that you find impactful, the people that are influential in your life. They might be celebrity. They might be a family member. They might be someone you work with or the boss that you have. There are people in your life that you look up to and you say, wow, I love how they handle themselves in this situation. I love how they've been able to juggle both their family and running a business. I love how they prioritize their health and their well-being before they get after it and really provide value to the world. There are different people that when you look at, you're like, oh. And when you get to that place, I want you to say to me, to what degree have these people actually helped you in your process? I guarantee a good majority of these people never physically moved mountains for you. They didn't actually do the work for you. Most likely, what has made you so inspired and willing to try something on your own came from simply seeing that they did the thing themselves. It was their story that created an impact. It was the way they moved that created that effect on your heart. It was you watching and observing and being curious to see if maybe if I tried that, I wonder what would happen for me. It's storytelling and movement in action that is the most inspirational, most influential way that us as leaders can affect other people in the world. So many times, teachers, coaches, presenters, people who just really want to make a change, they think that they need to do the work for their students. But the truth is it's in watching the way you move that your people will have the most impact. So your work first is to embody what it is that you do. It's to own and know that what you do is what you do, baby. It's what you do. It's how you do it. It's how you love it. It's how you know it about yourself. It's like, yes, I know I'm funny. I know I'm kind. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm confident. I know I'm intelligent. I know that about myself because I had to work to get here. Owning that piece does everything, but do you remember how you got here? What we're going to talk about is what does the framework of sharing your story look like? Because if you don't know how you got to confidence, you're going to be one more confident woman that cannot help anyone else find their own confidence. There is an effect to a role model where just watching them is helpful. But what if your role model was able to look at you and say, hey, this is how I got here. It wasn't always like this. You think I'm pretty? You think I'm sexy? You think I'm fun? I used to feel like an ugly duckling. I used to feel not like the life of the party. I didn't think I could have this much money. I didn't think I could be at this weight or have this much strength. I didn't think I'd not have restless nights. I didn't think it was possible for me to find love. I didn't know. But then I figured it out. What if the person you admired the most was able to look at you and share that with you? It's like, oh my God, I thought you were just born this way. You actually built this into your life. This is what you get to do with your story, your gifts, your experience, and share this with the people you're meant to lead. And so what I want to talk to you about today is really the idea of systematizing your story. Systematizing your story. This is what most people would call just simple storytelling. It's understanding that in telling a story, there is an effective way to get your story across. But if you haven't thought through the 3 phases of storytelling, it ends up leaving you in a position where people might hear the outcome, but they don't see how they can follow suit. And so I want to share with you a very simple model that I found that you'll understand why this is so effective. I think this is so powerful. And you will be able to also see whether you're in sales, whether you're in marketing, whether you are just trying to coach a client, whether you are trying to move people from one decision to another one, whatever you're trying to do to encourage people to take the next step in their lives. When you get to this place, using this model is so freaking effective. I can promise you, if you're trying to make more money, this is a fantastic way to make more money. But if you just want to know that you are getting your story out there and you're allowing people to step into their own power, this model is flawless. And you might have one of the 3 pieces, you might have 2 of the 3, but if you can do all 3 well, this is going to be the most effective thing that you can do. So I want to first share my story. My story when it comes to storytelling. Storytelling is not something that came naturally to me at all. It was something I've had to practice. It is something that I've had to try out. It is something that I think whenever I'm really excited, I'm having a really good day and I'm really caught up in the conversation, it will come out naturally. But if you asked me in the past to, Sammy, tell me a story, or even worse, Sammy, tell me about yourself, I would have been like, I didn't know it. I didn't know how to take up space in that way. That is my story. I didn't know how to take up space in my past. And so my experience growing up was always, who are you? You tell me who you are. Tell me about your life. Tell me about your family history. Tell me about your passions and love for life. Tell me about who you are. I was a really good listener. And I loved listening because listening was my ability to really get to see into your world. I would get to see what matters to you. I would get to see your motivations. I'd get to see what you liked and what you didn't like. And all of this information I'd end up collecting and use that in our friendship to have a better friendship. When we would meet up, I would come up to you and I'd say, hey, how did that date with the guy go? Or, hey, did you see the sale is on at your favorite store? I'm going to send you a coupon, or I'm going to send you the email that I just heard. Hey, how's your dad doing? Is he doing okay? Did you guys have that hard conversation? I was really good at being a friend because my listening capacities were very active. And it's something I learned at a very early age. And so I was able to develop very good friendships in this way. It also worked for me in business to do this because being a coach, going into the coaching world, you're kind of a therapist a lot of the times. Even though I was teaching fitness and helping people get strong and lean, I still would listen to what was working for them. What's not working for them? What's your motivation? What do you really want in your lifetime? What's blocking you? What are you struggling with? And I would be able to use that information to reflect back to my clients what they said they wanted to help keep them focused and motivated. So it worked out for me to be a fantastic listener. However, the problem would show up whenever someone would say, Sammy, how are you? Well, you're asking me how I am? I haven't thought about that all day. I've been focusing on everybody else. How am I feeling? What did I do today? I can't even remember. I've been so mentally focused on people what did I do today? Did I eat breakfast? I can't remember. I did not literally have it in my mind what I was up to. It was a really weird feeling. I think a few people can relate to this. If you ask me what I'm doing, what I'm up to, what I'm thinking, what I've done, I'm like, yeah, let me walk through my day. And it felt embarrassing because I could see people would really want to know. They've shined the spotlight on me and they were like, what did you do? And I'm like, blinded because I just don't think that way. And I would share something. It may or may not be valuable, but it definitely wasn't in the frame of a story. I just blurt something out, oh, I'm good. Or, yeah, I did something moderately interesting that you probably don't really care about. And yep, I saw your attention just go away because that really wasn't an interesting thing. I don't blame you. And I would feel weird. I knew that I felt weird about that. It was an odd feeling because it was the feeling of being seen, but then it was being eyeballed like, well, is that all you got? And I remember thinking to myself, wow, it's a weird thing to not be able to talk about myself. It was worse when I would go on dates. People would ask, what do you like? What do you do with your free time? I literally could not answer. I was so out of connection with myself that I couldn't answer the question of what do you do in your free time? My free time was to spend time focusing on other people. Whether I was getting paid or whether it was friends, I could tell you everything you needed to know about my people in my life, but I did not know anything about myself. So it was a weird feeling because I felt like I didn't understand how to share myself. But what became even worse was I started to notice that I had a few friends call me out on this. And they would say things like, Sammy, I love you. I love our friendship. I love everything about us. But sometimes when I ask you how you're doing, you don't seem to share like the deep stuff. You share about yourself, but it feels like I can't feel your emotions. I can't feel what you're experiencing. And I remember I felt offended at this at first. It was like, how could you say that? I'm not ever trying to hide anything from you. I'm sharing what I'm saying, and I couldn't quite grasp what they were saying, although I felt it. I started to notice what it was. And what it was they wanted to walk intimately with me the same way I walked intimately with them. The most just disappointing feeling I had about this realization was not only did I rarely share about myself, and now all of a sudden my friends are craving to hear more about me, but it turned out that I didn't even know how to grab that part of information in my mind. It's like I had constantly been walking through my life only concerned with other people. And when I really looked at it, the reason I was not attuned to myself is because I was deeply comfortable with self-neglect. Self-deprioritization, not making myself enough. Cambria, what's up, girl? Hello. Not making myself enough, not putting myself first. Everything that I was teaching my clients, everything I was allowing people to try to step into for themselves, I didn't know I was doing it, but I was not prioritizing myself to the point to where I couldn't verbally state what I was doing because I was the last priority on my mind. It was a very, very deep time where I had to begin to say, Sammy, you have to know what you're experiencing and be able to express that in words. It sounds so silly because I know some of you guys are storytellers. You can talk about yourself for an extended period of time. It really is a gift. However, when you don't know how to share your experiences in a way that people can hear and share your experiences in a story arc, and share your experiences in a way that leaves people more hopeful, it's difficult to see your transformation be active. What I want to share with you is that in my experience, my difficulty was the first phase, being able to just share my experience. What people would do or hear from me when they'd ask about me is they would hear the end, they would hear the hope. They would hear me having already processed the hard times in my life. And I'd say like, oh yeah, well, I just made this really cool realization about myself, or I made this really cool realization about life. And that's what they would hear from me. They would hear the end, but they wouldn't hear the journey. And it's because I did not spend enough time with myself to even be aware of what my journey is. So I'm going to lay out today, ladies, the 3-step framework that I found that I think we could all practice strengthening. What happens when you learn all 3 pieces about yourself, you're able to connect more deeply with the people in your life. Whether it is a friend like me, or whether it is a client who needs to know about your struggle, or whether it is about the public who you want to show that it's possible to see another version of themselves, hope. We're going to walk through each of these 3, and I want you to discover which of these 3 do you feel is the one that is the weakest for you. And then we're going to talk next week about how to craft a story that you can walk away with and begin to share this with people and see how people are impacted by the experiences that you've walked. So what I want to do is I'm going to double check something really quick. And if you're excited to hear about this, it is very much a hello. Okay, Cam, I thought you might be commenting, but I can't see you on my phone quite yet. So hi, hello. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through a storytelling framework. There's many, many ways to tell a story. As you guys know, if you did any type of writing in school, elementary school, we learned all about storytelling and persuasive writing, narrative writing. All you guys remember that part. There is specifics to storytelling, and if you go into creative writing, I highly suggest you finding a class just to go and creatively write. Some of us feel very caught in our throats. This was me in the very beginning. We don't feel comfortable sharing the thoughts that we have. And to practice creatively writing, or to be even in a space where the goal is to creatively write, it's a really good tool to just get you bursting out of yourself and onto paper, or in this case, through your phone. So there's a lot of ways to do this. You can journal, you can free write, you can set a timer, you can practice. I always have my clients who I do business with, we start to practice opening up their fear of being seen by just having them write what first comes to their mind, unedited, unfiltered, just to get that piece stewarded. But once you get that part of yourself open where you're comfortable enough with your style of speaking to just speak, then this is where the art happens. We get to look at what you're saying and decide, how do we craft what you're trying to say to land at a specific point so that the listener, whether it's a future client, whether it's a current client, or just a friend, can hear what you're saying and experience in their head that allows them to be like, I wonder how I can do this for myself. The model we're going to be using to craft your message, to craft your story around, is using something that comes from the Alcoholics Anonymous world. I heard this one time while watching YouTube videos about storytelling. It was something I was really diving into because I just wanted to learn, and I wanted to hear how the greats really tell a story. If you guys have been doing world building with me, you know I love movies, I love plots, I love character development, I love seeing worlds built, because I believe that when you create a world, you're able to really remember and retain information. It causes you to think differently and be inspired. And so I was looking into all of this, and somehow I ran into an incredible storyteller who shared a model of how people in Alcoholics Anonymous are encouraged to share their story. And the way they use this is a 3-step process called ESH. ESH stands for experience, strength, and hope. Now, you know that in Alcoholics Anonymous, the intention is to go into the room and to share your story, to first get it off of your chest, to allow yourself to be seen, and to allow yourself to feel the relief of knowing that you are still loved and you are still seen and witnessed, even in your darkest times. But when you use the ESH model, the ESH model allows other people who are sitting in the same circle, doubting themselves, conflicted with the feelings of addiction and the feelings of not trusting themselves, doubt, fear, trauma, all of these things. When you share in this way, the ESH model is a framework that allows even the strongest of holds that people have on their hearts to be given a glimmer of hope that makes them believe, or allows them to believe, that they too can have a new lifestyle. And that really stood out to me, because I was like, that's what we do in business, is we're trying to allow people to see that this product or this service that I have to offer is different than all of the other things that you might have tried. And I want to show you how it might be different from you by sharing a story with the value that it can bring. So I started practicing with myself the ESH model, because this was around the time where I was going through my own revelation around, wow, I don't share my own story. I don't share enough about myself. And Kimlin, how is it going, girl? How are you? I'm so happy you made it. I didn't walk around sharing my own story because I didn't know my story. I wasn't aware of my story, but I was also afraid of sharing my story. I didn't realize that at the time, but I was afraid of crafting words to share with you the deep internal experiences that I've had, to then leverage that to spin it into the hope that I've found. So I went around, I was like, let me keep this simple. ESH, easy enough. I can use ESH as a way to just start finding my story. I couldn't tell you what I had walked through. I hadn't practiced seeing myself in all of the different years that I've experienced and overcome great things. And so as I did that, it started to work. I started to see myself first in ways that It's like, I didn't even think that moment was valuable, but wow, there's a piece of hope that someone else might experience and feel grateful to have heard. It also helped me start to see, wow, I have overcome a lot that I never gave myself credit for, that I wasn't proud of, that I was not allowing myself to see, which is why I constantly felt like I was in a state of not good enough. The ESH model helped me start to verbalize in a simple format the experiences that I've had and the strength that I encountered that allowed me to then feel hopeful about the future of my life. And I practiced this with myself first, and then started to share with the people around me. And when I saw people's light bulbs go off even more than when I was being unintentional about it, it clicked. The ESH model felt like a win-win for everyone. And I was like, oh no, we've got to teach this. We've got to learn this. So I want to share this with you to see if this might work for you as well. And the ESH stands for experience, strength, and hope. Experience, strength, and hope. When you are capable of being clear enough on yourself, of sharing what it is that you've experienced, what your experience was like before the thing that you believe is going to change someone's life, before you encountered the new revelation, before you tried out the new product, before you experienced a word of wisdom that changed the way you thought, before you experienced exercise, before you experienced something that came into your life that changed you for good, when you can describe your experience before, what I found for myself was it allowed me to tune in to a truth within me that I'd never fully accepted. Being able to replay with words the story of what I was like before, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sharing my experience, sharing the emotion, sharing the pain, sharing the highs, sharing the lows, sharing what the life looked like before the next level helped me really see me. My question to you is, how well do you know your experiences of the past? Are you able to share it in a story form? When we first started, and I began to open up about ESH, I was sharing with you my experience. My experience was I could not announce what I had done that day. I couldn't announce where I'd been. I couldn't tell you how I felt. I couldn't tell you anything. I just knew that I was good. That's how I would share myself with people. And they felt disconnected from me because they couldn't see the picture of what I had been going through. How well do you feel you are able to describe your experience? Now we're going to come back around to this. If you're like, no, I can talk pretty good about what I did today or what I did last week or what I've experienced over the last few years, this is a check mark for you. Okay? Now, the next one we want to check in with is the S. The strength is the thing that you encountered that strengthened you. The person, the place, the moment, the idea, the thing that changed you and strengthened you. What was that? Do you know what it is? What's so amazing is a lot of times we encounter things that strengthen us, but we might move on to the next thing so fast that we don't take the time to acknowledge that, wait, this moment, this person said something. I ran into a miracle and I didn't give that miracle credit. I took a nap and that's what allowed me to rest and then restore myself into a new way of belief. It was this moment here that strengthened me. A lot of times we're looking so desperately for the problems to find, to solve, to figure out, that we haven't taken an inventory on the moments that strengthened us. In storytelling, it's the strength that comes in that is now our message that we get to share with others as a possible solution for them in what they're navigating. When you're telling a story, you go from experience, what your life was like before, what were you doing, where were you, how were you, what time period was this in for you, how did it feel for you, what was working, what was not working, what did that picture look like? And then strength is, what was the thing that entered your life that strengthened you? Do you see it as a strengthener, or do you see it as just something? When you can acknowledge the strengthener, give it the credit it deserves, and speak life about it, allow people to hear how powerful the strengthener was for you, you get to catapult you and the listener into the third phase of storytelling, which is the hope. H stands for hope. The thing that you now know, the thing that you've experienced, the opportunity that now the listener can say, wow, it's because of the strengthener that maybe, just maybe, I too can have. Maybe, just maybe, I too can become. According to her story, I relate to her experience. I relate to her pains. I relate to her struggle. I relate to her doubt. That is me right now. But this thing that came into her life has shown that it strengthened her. What if it could do that for me? You can't know. They can't know until they hear the hope. Your hope is life on the other side of the strength. Being able to beautifully share what your life looks like now as a result of being strong in this area. What's working? What's grown? What's expanded? What do you feel better in? What do you love? What do you like? How do you rest? How do you move? How do you speak? What is new for you now as a result? As a storyteller, as a leader, as someone who's truly trying to move people from point A to point B, all three things of these are necessary in order to allow people to experience the feeling of, oh, I've got to go try this out. I've got to go see if this is going to work for me. I've got to put my effort into this. If you only give one of those three parts, people will hear your experience, but they won't know what will strengthen them, and they won't know what's hopeful. If you only provide the hope, which is what I would do, I would speak in afterthought. I would say, oh, things are great for me now. They can't relate because they don't know what my life was. They didn't know what my life was like before. They didn't see my experience before. So it was like, okay, good for you, Sammy. You have it all together. That's good for you. If I only spoke about the strength, the thing that's working, the thing that I think that you should do because I did it and that's what worked for me, people wouldn't be able to piece together where is this coming from? Where were you before this came into your life, and where are you now? Like, I hear you telling me what I should do, but I can't relate because I don't know if this is going to work for me. My story or experience might be different. All three pieces of the ESH allows you to be seen, which is so important as a woman in leadership. But it allows your listener to carry with you into the next step. And the carrying with you is the key essential piece of guiding people up the mountain of embodiment to their next level. That's going to allow people to say, oh my God, I am so grateful that she shared her story. Because if she didn't, I wouldn't have known anyone else has been in the experience that I've been in. I wouldn't have known what to use to strengthen me, to get me further. And I wouldn't have believed in the thing that's hopeful, the lifestyle, the other side. I wouldn't have believed that it was possible Without her story, she gave me all three pieces I need to feel confident and safe enough to move into the next step. Your art in knowing these three parts of yourself and then sharing this with others, it's what's going to seal the deal for you to be an impactful, healthy, feminine leader. And so what I want to do is I want to give a couple of space. If you're here, yes, Kim Kimlin says, I talk to myself. Yes, I am fine. Thanks. That is so good, girl. I want to hear, which of these three pieces do you feel like you do well? And which of these three are areas that you think maybe, just maybe, I could probably tighten up a little bit, can probably get better with? I know for me, I'm really strong still at speaking about the strength of something, how it's impactful. I'm doing it with you right now. ESH to me is the strengthener. It's the thing. I'm really good at that piece. And naturally, I'll share about the hope, what life could be like on the other side, what that looks like. My personal issue that I think I could really improve better, and I think our connection would get better. I think branding and social media marketing and all of that would get better, is if I were to share more of my experience. That's the area I know I could get better at. I'd love to hear yours. What do you feel sharing your experience, what has strengthened you, or the hope side, the other side, the upside of your journey do you think you can improve in allowing people to see you in? I'd love to hear what you believe would help you become a more impactful leader. And what we're going to do next week, I'm going to triple check and make sure that I'm all right on the calendar. Oh, yeah. Next week. Okay, I thought so, but I wanted to double check. Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to run a mini masterclass here inside of the group. And what I would love to do is I would love to walk through storytelling with you. I want you to have one story in your bank, one story that you can whip out at any given time. And I want you to feel masterful about telling the story. What you'll find is that some of your favorite people will tell the same story about what changed them over and over and over again. And when people get really, really good at storytelling, you don't mind hearing it again, because it's almost like hearing it the first time. I swear, for me, Titanic, the movie, every time I watch it, it's such a good story that sometimes I really believe that maybe this time the boat won't sink. Maybe this time. Maybe, just maybe. It's a good story is something that people will be able to listen to over and over and over again. But I think that the important piece is still having the framework. You can embellish your story, you can get detailed with your story, you can get picturesque with your story, you can inflect your voice and then talk about the hard times. You can really master the art of storytelling through flavor and texture and all of these different things. But the framework is the foundation. And if you were like me and you don't know the framework of some of the most impactful seasons in your life, then we're going to go catch the framework first so that then you can begin to practice sharing your story. Watch how it infects people. Watch how it pushes them to say, I wonder how I can do this for myself. And then as you start to see that feedback come, you're going to take more time sharing your experience. Take more time really painting the picture. Take more time. I am in process and I allow myself to be in process. Yes, Kim. Yes, girl. Allowing yourself to really massage the story, take up space, take up time, allow people to ebb and flow with your experience. And when you can do this, you can land this point where when I found this is what strengthened me. This is what changed my frame of mind. This is what shifted my world. This is what allowed me to see life differently. And as a result, what I thought was only hope, it became my reality. And here's what life has been like for me on the other side. When you can become a master at sharing all three phases, you will be amazed at how people want to learn more. Masterful storytellers will lead all industries because industries want a leader. Good leaders know where they are, where they've been, and where they're going. And when you become the master at sharing that in multiple areas of who you are, you're going to be able to attract a lot of people. And we're going to lean into this in August around the second phase of the pillar of impact, which is systems. When you start becoming really effective, people are going to want to come in. They're going to start flooding into your life, and you're really going to want to have systems in place in order to maintain and hold your impact so that you can continue to assist people on the multitudes and provide value to them without ever breaking down. So I saw this on Maxwell's book, and I am practicing this. Good. This is what I want. I want to create that space for us to be able to talk about that here. So we're going to do better at storytelling. My hope is to hear more of your stories. And as you share your stories, well, we'll talk about this next week, but as we craft your story, we're going to start sharing more stories. And my hope is to hear your processes and wherever it is that you're at in your journey. So go through this week practicing the ESH. See, where do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable sharing your experience, but you don't share the story arc where it's like, oh, this is what strengthened me? Do you focus a lot on the end where everything's hopeful, optimistic, and this is what it's been working for me, but you don't share where you were before? Or do you share the thing that you know works, but you don't walk people up to how that could work for them? It's different phases, and when we master all phases, we're going to see a really big impact for you and for the people that hear you. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to talk about storytelling and crafting your story. Cannot wait to dive in to talk with you about this further. So that being said, my loves, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, spending your time with me. And I will see you next week on next Thursday. So welcome, my friend. We'll talk very soon, and I love you. Here's to becoming more active and attractive. Bye.